Hey everybody, my name is Lowell, and welcome to the channel. So we have a reaction video. This is going to be Lost in the Pond with Lawrence, but let's do How America Often Feels Like a Movie Set. Now, I've actually said this before in a video where growing up with American TV and American movies, you know American cities probably better than you know your own country. So let's jump in and let's have a look at this one.
Hello, what are you doing here in my garage? Well, I was finally sweeping it after the harsh winter of 2026.
Jesus.
And as I was doing this, I got this warm feeling in my stomach, although that could have been the Indian food, and had this realization that, oh wow, I live in America. You might think, well, that's a weird thing to hit you after 18 years. Well, that's not what I'm saying. I have moments every now and again where I just stand in awe of the fact that I have fulfilled the dreams of my childhood self. In other words, I moved to America, and sometimes it really is like in the movies. Billy, I found it. My St. Patrick's Day collection. And these moments can be inspired by many things. You know, it could be my slightly large American garage, but it could also be the things that I have on today's list. Anyway, if you're mildly or even lukewarmly curious and you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, do that now.
I will put all the information in the description if you want to go and check out his channel too. So,
in the meantime, corners. And I don't mean the type of corners that Americans are going to see a lot of this summer. I mean the corner of a city block. As I've said time and time again, America is quite orderly in the way it lays out its towns and cities. These grids, which you'll find far and wide in this country, spawned a way of speaking that was so shorthand in nature, I assumed it was invented just as a movie trope. What is that thing? When two characters in a film agree to meet on the corner of, for example, 18th and Maplewood.
Go to the subway station of 72nd and Broadway.
I think the first time that an American colleague asked me to meet them in such a way, I almost cried. It made it feel like we were going to team up and hunt down the bad guy, probably played by Jeremy Irons. And I still feel that way when somebody wants to meet me at an intersection. There's nothing weird going on. I'm just talking about friends and the occasional dog. There is one famous American landmark that no matter how many times I see it, I still get a very specific feeling and the desire to turn into James Bond. And that famous landmark is the Golden Gate Bridge.
okay.
I should mention that when I watched View to a Kill when I was 6, I was specifically drawn to the Golden Gate Bridge because it was a prettier, more vibrant version of a bridge several miles away from where I grew up in Grimsby, England. And that bridge is the Humber Bridge, which, as you can see, is not vibrant at all. To childhood Lawrence, it seemed like people who made movies had taken the bridge that I knew and dolled it up into something that could only be found on a movie set. But it's not on a movie set, which I proved by filming it with a camera. This footage was shot last April when I made a secret visit to San Francisco. Something that always amazes me about the Golden Gate Bridge is it's much smaller than I'd pictured.
Oh, smaller? It looks massive. What are you talking about?
I mean, it's even dwarfed by other bridges in San Francisco. I actually had that same experience with Statue of Liberty too. I think that films just elevate these things to a degree that we're not capable of with our own eyes because we don't have adjustable lenses. I mean, we do, sort of, but not in the same way as cameras.
Oh, okay. I guess he means how long it is? Because it does look like a big bridge, but... God, look at all the dust and everything.
I have a very special place in my heart for high-speed chases. In fact, recently I was reminded of the last time that the United States hosted the FIFA World Cup. USA '94 was indeed the first World Cup that I watched with my own eyes. And the reason that I mention this is that the start of that particular World Cup was slightly overshadowed by the initial event of the O.J. Simpson saga. And I remember watching this on TV and how it felt like I was just watching a cutaway from The Fugitive. Then I moved to the United States States and discovered that televised car chases are not only a reality, they are their own TV show. These are not just things that I've seen on TV, but with my own eyes and hands, just eyes. I witnessed a car slide into the side of another car because this car was being pursued by a police car. And this car did a thing where it reversed slightly into the police car and then did a U-turn and then crashed into a pole. I have to say, the first time that an American called me buddy, my eyes lit up because I felt like he was Han Solo and I was Lando Calrissian right after Lando has betrayed Han. And that's the great thing, I think, about American terms of affection. They could also be used in anger, like buddy, pal, or dude. He's my good pal. Or, hey, look where you're going, pal. Hey, buddy, what's up? Or,
what's going on, buddy?
Dude, that's awesome. Or, dude, stop using my water bottle. There's a perfectly good toilet upstairs. And I sometimes wonder if Americans have the same feeling when they talk to me and I refer to them as mate. Oh my God, it's like in Shaun of the Dead. I know that you know that I'm not one to brag, but in a moment I'm going to sweep that very notion under the rug. Because many years ago, I did something that I'd waited my whole life to do, and that something is I got yelled at by a New Yorker. Now, in his defense, he didn't live up to other New York stereotypes, such as uttering the phrase, I am walking here. And I have to say, I found the whole thing very charming, even though I'd seen the film Goodfellas. Or, counterpoint, because I'd seen the film Goodfellas. And as this security guard is shouting, Sir, turn the around, that's a secure area, but in a New York accent, I glanced over my shoulder to make sure that I'd not wound up in a breaking news story with Al Pacino. Forgive me if you've heard me talking about yellow school buses before, but today I want to talk about why British people, including myself to this very day, remain convinced that American school buses are nothing more than a movie trope. The reason for me is simple. It just seems so unlikely that a country made up of 50 states and a landmass that's 40 times the size of the UK would have a uniform anything. Furthermore, and as a child, my feeling was that these school buses had a pop of colour that conveniently looked good on camera. And so I genuinely assumed that yellow school buses were the same thing as a 555 area code. In other words, a tried and tested feature of just American cinema. But after living here 18 years, there is a part of me that feels close to confessing that these are in fact real. One of these buses goes past my house twice a day, and now that I think about it, I haven't seen a film crew on my street since the Uncle Toby incident of 2023. Yep, definitely real. And that's a wrap. In the meantime, here are 6 British politeness rules that Americans break every day. You'll watch that video next, and until next time, goodbye.
See, that's the kind of thing that I would feel too if I lived in America. All these things that you grew up with, you know, from movies, you know, his reference there was 007. But especially the school buses as well. You know, you see it in the teen dramas, you see it in the TV shows, movies, horror movies, everything, you know, these school buses. We don't have them in Australia. They don't have them in Europe or the UK. And as he said, you know, he's surprised that they're actually uniformed around America. I guess it's because of safety and how they're built and whatever else, the color that they stand out. So, but if I ever saw one, I would get the same feeling. Yeah, I would get the same feeling. It's like, oh my God, it's a yellow school bus, which seems probably ridiculous to those in America. But if you lived outside of America, you would understand for sure. So, but that was good. That was very interesting. Lawrence there with Lost in the Pond. I will leave his information in the description there, guys. Go check out his channel. He has some great videos over there. So thank you very much for joining me today. Make sure you stay safe, guys. And I will definitely see you in the next reaction video. Oh, you're still here? You want more content? Why don't you check out my Patreon down here? You'll get plenty more content and some exclusive videos over there too. If not, why not check out this one over here?